Welcome to this lecture. I'll be using this lecture to show you practical illustrations of faith and grace. In the other lecture, I showed you the relationship between faith and grace, but this is going to describe some practical illustration so that you can get the full meaning of why faith and grace are important for you to do the miraculous on this earth. Now, let me go to the second slide and let's see what I have there. The first practical illustration I am going to show you is that grace and faith saved us. Grace and faith saved us. Now, through grace, we were all saved. Now, you know something, you must, if you have to be saved by grace, then it means you have to take a step of faith. That is what I'm trying to point across to you. You have to take a step of faith. Grace won't come in to save you except a step of faith has been taken. Except a step of faith has been taken. What are the steps of faith that you took, that I took, that you took before you became saved? You heard the preaching, you heard the word of God. That's a step of faith. You sat down to hear the preaching, and you believed what was said during a sermon or when you were reading a book. Now, what did you do? You now took a step of faith to say the salvation prayer. You took a step of faith to say the salvation prayer. Grace is powerful. Grace saved us during when we became Christians. Grace saved us through salvation, but grace won't be activated except you take a step of faith. So that's one practical illustration of faith and grace. Practical illustration of faith and grace. Now let me look at another practical illustration. Is another practical illustration. Grace and faith solved the sin problem. Now you will remember the sin problem was a big problem. It was a very big one. And Adam and Eve sinned in the garden, and that imputed sin into everyone that will be created. It was a big problem. Jesus has to come, God has to come down as Jesus Christ to die for the sins of the world. Now, just like I told you earlier on, grace and faith had to combine to solve the same problem. They had to combine to solve the same problem. Now, if they can combine to make every Christian to solve the same problem, then it means they can combine to for any Christian to do extraordinary exploit on this earth. If faith and grace can combine to solve the same problem, then they can combine to make every Christian do the extraordinary on this earth. Now let us look at another practical illustration. Now you will understand that if there is an increase in faith, there must be an increase in grace. And let me tell you, I've said it since the beginning of this section of this course. When faith is not increasing, grace will not increase. When I see some Christians trying to go to operate under an increased grace, but they are not walking under an increased faith, this will be difficult for you to do. So you know what you need to do is you should just focus on walking more by faith. Focus on walking more by faith. Focus on doing what God has instructed you to do. Focus on doing what God has instructed you to do. When you focus on the word of God, focus on doing the word of God, which is faith, then grace will naturally be increasing upon your life. Now, grace answers to your devotion to your walk by faith. Grace answers to it. Your readiness to walk by faith, the more faith and grace answers to it. And when grace comes in, the ability of God comes in to help you. Now let us look at the last slide. Another practical illustration. You can see from the Bible there are different dimensions of faith. There is the saving faith. We can find that in the book of Romans 10 verse 9. There is the great faith which the centurion demonstrated. Jesus said, you have a great faith. He said that also to the Syrophoenician woman. Now these are great faith. You need to read their stories. Read Romans 10:9, where we have the saving faith. Read Matthew 8 verse 10 and 26, where we read the story of the centurion. Now there's also the little faith. the disciples of Jesus Christ before he went to the cross demonstrated the little faith on many occasions. They will say little on many occasions on the sea when Jesus calmed the storm. Jesus said, "Oh ye of little faith." So you have to pick which one you have to. The saving faith helped you to become born again. You need to start demonstrating the great faith. That is what the miraculous course is trying to teach you. I believe you have enjoyed this lecture. I want you to meet me in the next lecture. Thank you very much.